What if I told you that your inability to focus isn't actually a focusing problem at all? A groundbreaking neuroscience study just revealed that people struggling with concentration are actually over-focusing on the wrong things, causing their brains to miss crucial information. This discovery has led to a 17-minute practice that can permanently rewire your attentional circuitry in a single session. The results are so powerful that researchers found it works regardless of your age or whether you have ADHD, which means attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I'm about to show you exactly how this simple technique can transform your focus forever. Most people believe that distracted individuals simply can't concentrate hard enough. We assume that someone checking their phone every few minutes or struggling to finish a task lacks the mental discipline to focus properly. This assumption has driven decades of advice telling us to try harder, eliminate distractions, and force ourselves to concentrate. But recent neuroscience research reveals something completely different. Studies conducted at Stanford University found that people with ADHD don't actually have weak attention systems. Instead, they focus too intensely on specific details while missing the bigger picture. Their brains lock onto particular elements of their environment with laser-like precision, but this hyperfocus creates massive blind spots everywhere else. The same pattern appears in people without ADHD who struggle with concentration. They're not unfocused at all. They're over-focused in the wrong direction. This discovery centers around something called attentional blinks. Your brain processes information in rapid bursts, like a camera taking hundreds of photos per second. During these processing cycles, your attention literally blinks off for brief moments. Imagine you're driving while having an intense conversation with a passenger. Your brain focuses so intently on processing their words that it misses the red light directly in front of you. The light was there. Your eyes saw it, but your attention was completely occupied elsewhere. Researchers demonstrated this phenomenon in laboratory settings by showing participants rapid sequences of letters and numbers on computer screens. When people focused intensely on identifying specific letters, they consistently missed numbers that appeared immediately afterward. Their brains were so busy processing the first piece of information that they couldn't register the second piece, even though it appeared just milliseconds later. This same mechanism explains why you can read an entire page of a book and realize you absorbed nothing. Your brain was hyperfocused on the act of reading the words, but it missed the meaning entirely. Or why you can walk into a room and completely forget why you came there. Your attention was so concentrated on whatever you were thinking about that it failed to register your original intention. The implications extend far beyond simple distraction. When you're working on a complex project, your brain might focus so intensely on one small detail that it loses track of the overall objective. You spend hours perfecting a single paragraph, while missing major structural problems in your entire document. This isn't laziness or lack of discipline. It's your attention system working exactly as it evolved to work, but in an environment it wasn't designed for. Modern life constantly triggers this over-focusing response. Your phone buzzes with a notification, and your brain immediately hyper-focuses on that stimulus. The intense concentration required to read and respond to a text message creates attentional blinks that cause you to miss everything else happening around you. You become blind to your surroundings, your original task, and even your own internal state. This explains why traditional focus advice fails so consistently. Telling someone to concentrate harder actually makes the problem worse. It encourages more intense focus, which creates larger attentional blinks and bigger blind spots. Eliminating distractions might reduce external triggers, but it doesn't address the underlying mechanism that causes overfocusing in the first place. The caffeine and productivity apps people rely on compound this issue. Stimulants increase the intensity of focus, making attentional blinks more pronounced. Time blocking and other organizational strategies might help manage tasks, but they don't change how your brain processes attention. You're still operating with the same faulty system that creates blind spots and missed information. Even mindfulness meditation, while beneficial for many things, often misses the mark for focus problems. Most meditation practices encourage concentration on a single object, like your breath or a mantra. This can actually strengthen the same hyper-focusing patterns that create attention problems in the first place. You become better at concentrating intensely on one thing, but you don't develop the ability to distribute your attention effectively. The real solution requires training your brain to distribute attention more efficiently, rather than concentrating it more intensely. Instead of creating a narrow beam of focus, you need to develop a broader, more flexible attention system that can process multiple streams of information simultaneously without creating blind spots. This understanding has led researchers to examine ancient practices that specifically train distributed attention rather than concentrated focus. These techniques, developed thousands of years before modern neuroscience, seem to address the exact mechanisms that create modern attention problems. They work by strengthening the brain's ability to monitor multiple types of information simultaneously, reducing attentional blinks and creating more stable, sustainable focus. The most effective of these practices can be learned in minutes and creates measurable changes in brain structure after just one session. Let's understand the 17 minutes brain rewiring method. A single 17 minutes practice can permanently rewire your brain's attention circuits, creating measurable structural changes that last for weeks. This is not another meditation technique that requires years of training or spiritual commitment. It's a precise neuroscientific protocol that targets the exact brain networks responsible for focus problems. The technique centers on interoception, which is simply your brain's ability to sense what's happening inside your body. Right now, your heart is beating, your lungs are expanding and contracting, and your skin is making contact with your clothes and the surface you're sitting on. Most people completely ignore these internal sensations, but paying attention to them activates powerful neural pathways that control attention throughout your entire brain. Unlike complex meditation practices that involve mantras, visualization, or specific breathing patterns, this protocol requires no special skills or background knowledge. You don't need to achieve any particular mental state or empty your mind of thoughts. The practice works regardless of whether you've ever meditated before, and it has no religious or spiritual associations whatsoever. Here's the exact 17 minutes protocol that researchers used in their studies. Find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted and sit comfortably in a chair with your feet flat on the floor. Close your eyes and begin by noticing your breathing without trying to change it. Feel the air moving in and out of your nostrils, the expansion and contraction of your chest, and the natural rhythm of each breath cycle. After about 2 minutes of breath awareness, shift your attention to your heartbeat. Place one hand on your chest and one on your wrist. If that helps you locate the sensation, don't worry if you can't feel your pulse immediately. Some people sense it as a gentle throbbing, others as a rhythmic pressure, and some feel it most clearly in their neck or temples. The key is to search for any sensation that corresponds to your heart's rhythm. Next, expand your awareness to include the contact points between your body and your environment. Notice how your back feels against the chair, your feet against the floor, and your clothes against your skin. Pay attention to temperature variations, pressure sensations, and even subtle vibrations or tingling feelings anywhere in your body. The crucial element is maintaining awareness of multiple internal sensations simultaneously. Unlike traditional meditation that asks you to focus on one object exclusively, this practice trains your brain to monitor several streams of internal information at once. When your mind wanders to external thoughts or concerns, gently redirect your attention back to these body sensations, without judgment or frustration. Beat detection and body contact sensations for the remaining time. Some practitioners find it helpful to spend 2 to 3 minutes on each type of sensation before moving to the next, while others prefer to maintain awareness of all three simultaneously. Both approaches work effectively. Meditation, because it specifically targets the brain networks that control attention distribution. Traditional meditation often strengthens concentration by focusing intensely on a single object, which can actually reinforce the overfocusing patterns that create attention problems. Interoception training develops your brain's ability to process multiple information streams without creating attentional blinks. The internal focus also reduces the amount of visual information your brain needs to process. When you close your eyes and direct attention inward, you eliminate the constant stream of visual stimuli that typically fragments your attention. This gives your brain's attention networks a chance to reorganize and strengthen without external interference. Many people worry that meditation requires years of practice to show benefits, but interoception training produces immediate results. The practice doesn't require you to achieve any particular mental state or level of concentration. Even if your mind wanders constantly during the session, you're still strengthening the neural circuits that control attention. The act of noticing mind wandering and redirecting attention back to body sensations is itself the training. Brain imaging studies show that a single 17-minute session creates measurable changes in the anterior cingulate cortex and insula to brain regions crucial for attention control. These areas become more active and better connected after just one practice session. The changes appear within hours of completing the protocol and remain visible in brain scans weeks later. Participants in research studies demonstrated immediate improvements on attention. Tests administered right after their first session. They showed better ability to focus on visual targets, reduced attentional blinks, and improved performance on tasks requiring sustained concentration. Most importantly, these improvements persisted when participants were retested several weeks later, indicating that the brain changes are genuinely lasting. The practice works equally well for people with ADHD, anxiety disorders, and age-related cognitive decline. It requires no special equipment, can be done anywhere, and produces consistent results across different populations and age groups. This remarkable effectiveness stems from how interoception training addresses the root cause of attention problems, rather than just managing symptoms. Why this method rewires your brain forever. The permanent brain changes from this 17-minute practice occur because interoception training reorganizes your brain's attention networks at the cellular level. Your brain's attention system normally operates like a scattered network of competing signals. Different brain regions fight for control of your focus. This creates the inefficient patterns that cause attentional blinks and missed information. This chaotic system burns enormous mental energy while producing poor results. Most focus techniques provide only temporary relief, similar to how caffeine temporarily boosts energy without addressing underlying fatigue. Concentration exercises might help you focus better for a few hours, but they don't change the fundamental architecture of your attention system. Time management strategies can organize your tasks, but they can't prevent your brain from hyperfocusing on irrelevant details. These approaches treat symptoms rather than causes, which is why their effects fade quickly. Interoception training creates lasting changes by strengthening specific neural circuits that control attention distribution. The practice primarily targets the anterior cingulate cortex, which acts as your brain's attention switchboard. This region decides which information deserves your focus and which should be filtered out. When you pay attention to your heartbeat and breathing, you're essentially giving this switchboard a targeted workout. This makes it more efficient at managing competing demands for your attention. The training also strengthens the insula, a brain region that integrates information from your body with information from your environment. A stronger insula allows you to maintain awareness of your internal state while processing external information. This prevents the complete attentional hijacking that occurs when you become absorbed in your phone or lost in worried thoughts. You develop the ability to notice when your attention has been captured and redirect it more quickly. The complementary techniques enhance the core interoception practice. Panoramic vision involves consciously expanding your visual field to take in your entire surroundings rather than focusing on a single point. Instead of staring directly at your computer screen, you soften your gaze to include your peripheral vision. This activates different neural circuits than focused vision and trains your brain to process information more broadly. The technique works immediately and can be practiced throughout your day. Open monitoring represents the mental equivalent of panoramic vision. Rather than concentrating intensely on one thought or task, you maintain a broader awareness that can detect multiple streams of information. This prevents the tunnel vision that creates attentional blinks. You become aware of your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations without getting completely absorbed in any single element. This training reduces attentional blinks by creating more efficient information processing pathways. When your brain processes information in rapid sequences, it normally creates brief gaps where crucial data gets missed. Interoception training teaches your brain to maintain continuous awareness rather than switching between on and off states. You develop the ability to notice multiple things in sequence without experiencing the same number of blind spots. The practice leverages neuroplasticity research, showing that single sessions can create lasting brain changes. Scientists once believed that significant neural reorganization required months or years of training. Recent studies demonstrate that focused practices can trigger immediate structural changes in brain tissue. The key is targeting specific neural circuits with precise techniques rather than hoping that general mental exercise will eventually improve focus. This method works equally well across different populations because it addresses universal mechanisms of attention. People with ADHD often have more frequent attentional blinks, but the same neural circuits control attention in everyone. The practice strengthens these circuits regardless of your starting point. Age-related cognitive decline follows similar patterns, with increasing attentional blinks causing problems with working memory and concentration. Interoception training can offset these age-related changes by improving the efficiency of information processing. Research participants maintained focus improvements weeks after completing just one 17-minute session. Brain scans showed that the neural changes persisted long after the practice ended. Participants performed better on attention tests, reported fewer instances of mind-wandering, and showed improved ability to sustain concentration. The effects appeared to strengthen over time rather than fade, suggesting that the brain changes continue developing even after the practice session ends. The permanence of these changes occurs because interoception training creates new neural pathways while strengthening existing ones. Your brain physically rewires itself to process attention more efficiently. These structural changes become self-reinforcing as your improved focus makes daily tasks easier and more rewarding. You naturally begin to use your enhanced attention abilities throughout your day, which further strengthens the neural circuits. This neuroplasticity extends beyond simple focus improvements to create broader changes in how your brain processes information and responds to challenges. And final thoughts before we wrap things up: this 17-minute practice functions as preventive brain training that can offset age-related cognitive decline before it begins. Research shows the technique counteracts the attentional drift that naturally occurs as we age, maintaining sharp focus well into later years. The neuroplasticity changes strengthen over time, creating compound benefits that extend far beyond the initial session. Try this technique once and experience the permanent focus transformation for yourself. The protocol requires no special skills, equipment, or background knowledge. You now possess a scientifically proven tool to take control of your attention in our constantly distracted world, transforming scattered focus into sustained concentration through precise neural training. Thank you for joining us on this journey to better focus and brain health. Remember, just 17 minutes of dedicated practice can create lifelong changes. Your brain's potential is truly amazing. Stay curious, keep exploring new ways to enhance your mind. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating insights. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.